May 20th, 2024 started like any other Monday in the tech world. Developers were coding, accountants were running spreadsheets, teenagers were doing whatever teenagers do online that they don't want their parents to see. Then Microsoft walked onto a stage and announced something that made the entire internet stop scrolling. A tool that takes a screenshot of your screen every few seconds, stores it forever, indexes it, makes it searchable, and calls it a feature. $3 trillion. That's Microsoft's market cap, the most valuable company on the planet. And they used that power to build what security researcher Kevin Beaumont immediately called, and I'm quoting directly here, a hacker's dream come true. Within 48 hours, the backlash was nuclear. Videos with millions of views, security experts publishing emergency warnings, the UK's Data Protection Authority launching a formal investigation. And Microsoft said, "We hear your concerns, we're going to fix it." Then they released it anyway. This is the story of how Microsoft built a surveillance machine, put it inside your computer, and told you it was for your own good, and what happened next. Because what happened next is something Microsoft absolutely did not plan for. Stay with me, because what they actually built is worse than you think. Let me explain exactly what Recall is, because Microsoft's marketing team worked very hard to make it sound harmless. Recall is an AI feature built into Windows 11 for Copilot PCs, the new generation of machines with dedicated AI chips. The pitch was simple. Imagine if your computer had a perfect memory. You could search for anything you'd ever seen on your screen. A document you read 3 weeks ago, a website you visited once, a conversation you had in a chat app. Just type what you remember, and Recall finds it. Sounds useful, right? Here's how it actually works. Every few seconds, your computer takes a screenshot of everything on your screen. Everything. Your banking app, your medical records, your private messages, your passwords as you type them, your credit card numbers, your therapy notes, your browser history. Every few seconds, all day, every day. Those screenshots get processed by an on-device AI that reads the text in every image and stores it in a local database, a searchable index of your entire digital life sitting on your hard drive at a specific file path. Let that sink in. Not a cloud server in some building Microsoft controls, not a database behind a secure login. A file on your hard drive at a specific location that any program running on your computer could potentially access. Microsoft called this your personal AI assistant. Kevin Beaumont called it something else. He said, quoting directly, "Recall is essentially an infostealer built into Windows." An infostealer. That's the technical term for the malware hackers use to steal your passwords and sell them on the dark web. Microsoft built one, installed it on your PC, and charged you for the hardware to run it. The same company that built Windows Defender just built the thing Windows Defender is supposed to stop. To understand why this is such a betrayal, you have to understand what Microsoft promised you. For decades, the deal was simple. You buy a Windows PC, it's your machine. Your files stay on your device. Microsoft gives you the operating system, you give them money, and what happens on your computer stays on your computer. That was the promise. That was the foundation of trust that made Windows the most used operating system on the planet. 1.4 billion active devices as of 2024. 1.4 billion people who trusted Microsoft with their most personal tool. And Microsoft was proud of that trust. In 2023, CEO Satya Nadella stood on stage and said, I'm quoting, "Privacy is a fundamental human right." He said it with a straight face. He got a standing ovation. The same CEO who promised Copilot would revolutionize your PC. The same CEO who promised Recall would give you a perfect memory. Are you noticing a pattern? Meanwhile, somewhere in a building in Redmond, a team of engineers was building Recall. The irony isn't subtle, it's a sledgehammer, because here's what nobody is saying loudly enough. Recall wasn't built by accident. It wasn't a bug. It wasn't a rogue engineer going off script. This was a deliberate product decision, approved at the highest levels of one of the most powerful companies in human history, designed to harvest the most intimate data possible, a visual record of your entire digital life. And the justification was simple. It helps you find stuff faster. They traded your privacy for a search bar, but it gets worse. Because when the world pushed back, Microsoft's response revealed exactly what kind of company they've become. The moment Recall was announced, the cybersecurity community lost its mind. And not in a good way. The timeline is brutal. Within 24 hours, Kevin Beaumont published a technical breakdown showing the recall database was stored completely unencrypted, accessible to any app running on your PC. Within 72 hours, a developer named Alexander Hagana published a tool called Total Recall on GitHub, a script that could extract and read your entire recall database in seconds. His description: nothing encrypted, no rocket science needed. Within 1 week, the UK's Information Commissioner's Office launched a formal investigation into whether recall violated data protection law. Within 2 weeks, Microsoft blinked. They pulled the feature. They promised to fix it. Think about that. The backlash was so severe that Microsoft, a $3 trillion company, delayed its own flagship feature. They said they'd make it OPT-in. They said they'd encrypt the database. They said they'd add filters to block sensitive information like passwords and credit cards. So they spent almost a year making fixes. And in April 2025, Recall finally rolled out to Copilot PCs. Independent researchers immediately tested the new version. The University of Pennsylvania Office of Information Security released an official warning calling Recall, and I'm quoting their exact words, substantial and unacceptable security, legality, and privacy challenges. The sensitive data filter still failed to reliably block credit card numbers, bank balances, and passwords. The fixes were cosmetic, the promises were empty, and Recall shipped anyway. And this wasn't affecting some small beta test group. Every new Copilot PC sold is another device where Recall ships by default and waits for someone to accidentally turn it on. Imagine you're a woman in Chicago. It's a Tuesday morning in early 2025. You sit down at your new Copilot Plus laptop, the one the salesperson said was the most powerful Windows PC ever made. You open your browser, you search for a domestic violence shelter, you read through the resources, you close the tab, you think it's gone, it's not gone. Recall photographed that search, it photographed the shelter's address, it photographed the phone number, it photographed the intake form you started filling out. Stored forever, indexed, searchable by anyone who gets physical or remote access to your device. This isn't hypothetical. Privacy advocates and domestic violence organizations raised this exact scenario the week Recall was announced. They wrote letters to Microsoft. They published open statements. They begged the company to reconsider. There are people whose safety depends on their digital privacy. People fleeing abusive partners, people managing addiction recovery, people dealing with mental health crises, people whose medical conditions could cost them their jobs if exposed. Recall doesn't care. It photographs everything because Microsoft decided that a better search bar was worth more than your safety. If this video made you think twice about what's running on your machine right now, subscribe, because we cover exactly this kind of thing every single week. Hit like if you think people deserve to know about this. Here's what makes this story different from a simple tech blunder. This wasn't incompetence, this was a strategy. Microsoft has run this exact playbook before. In 2015, Windows 10 shipped with telemetry data collection turned on by default, quietly sending usage data for hundreds of millions of users without clear consent. They called it a feature. Then came the forced migration to Windows 11 with hardware requirements that conveniently required users to buy entirely new machines. They called it progress, and now Recall, announced, delayed, fixed, shipped, they called it innovation. The pattern is always the same. Announce a controversial feature, face backlash, promise fixes, wait for the news cycle to move on, ship it anyway with cosmetic changes. Count on the fact that most users won't notice, won't opt out, and won't understand what's happening to their data. And here's the part that should keep you up at night. If you bought a Copilot PC in the last 12 months, this isn't hypothetical. Recall may already be on your machine. Opt it in, but opt in the way a terms of service agreement is opt-in. Technically your choice, practically invisible, buried 4 menus deep in settings. According to IDC, roughly 28 million Windows AI PCs were sold in all of 2024. Every new Copilot PC sold is another device where Recall ships ready to activate. And as GeekWire confirmed in 2026, fewer than 10% of Windows 11 PCs can currently run Recall, but that number grows every single month. Here's the plot twist, though. Microsoft's plan backfired badly. Here's the part Microsoft absolutely did not plan for. Recall was supposed to be the killer feature that made Copilot PCs irresistible, the thing that justified the premium price. the AI magic trick that would make you forget about Apple, Linux, and every alternative. Instead, it became the single most effective advertisement for switching away from Windows in years. Searches for how to switch from Windows to Linux hit all-time highs in the weeks after the announcement. Linux desktop usage reached an all-time high on Steam's hardware survey. The privacy-focused browser Brave added a feature specifically to block recall from screenshotting your activity. Signal did the same. AdGuard followed. The very apps that millions of people use to protect their privacy from corporations, they all shipped updates specifically to block Microsoft's feature. That's not a coincidence. That's an industry-wide vote of no confidence. Kevin Beaumont, or the security researcher who first sounded the alarm, put it perfectly. He wrote that Microsoft had done more for Linux adoption in one announcement than the Linux community had managed in years of trying. And then came January 2026. A report from Windows Central revealed that Microsoft was quietly rethinking its entire recall strategy. Pulling back, reconsidering. The feature that was supposed to define the next generation of Windows was being walked back less than a year after launch. The UK investigation is still ongoing. The EU is watching. Security researchers are still finding vulnerabilities. And as of today, GeekWire confirms Microsoft recall still raises serious security red flags. Satya Nadella still has his job, the stock is still up, but somewhere in Redmond, someone is having a very uncomfortable conversation about whether a search bar was worth all of this. So where does this leave us? 3 lessons from this story that go way beyond Microsoft. 1. Convenience is never free. Every time a tech company offers you a feature that makes your life easier, ask what it costs. Not in dollars, in data, in privacy, in control. 2. The default setting is the product. Most people never change defaults. Tech companies know this. When a feature is on by default, it's not a feature, it's a policy. 3. Your computer is not your computer anymore. It hasn't been for a while, but recall made it impossible to pretend otherwise. If you have a Copilot PC, go to Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Recall and Snapshots, and turn it off. Right now, before you finish this video. And if you've been thinking about alternatives, Linux, Mac, anything that isn't a surveillance machine with a Windows logo, maybe this is the sign you needed. Here's the truth. You already knew something was wrong. You felt it every time Microsoft pushed an update you didn't ask for. Every time a feature appeared in your settings that you never enabled. Every time they asked for permission and then did what they wanted anyway. You were right. Recall just proved it. Microsoft bet that you wouldn't notice. They bet that convenience would win. They bet that you'd trade your privacy for a search bar. Were they right about you? Drop your answer in the comments. The next video is already waiting for you.